just played at the beginning of this episode is a little bit of a teaser to sort of what you're going to see from the Jim Jordan and Robert Mueller exchange. It got a little brutal there. Now, to be fair, it could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot worse. Louis Gohmert really drilled into Bob Mueller, too. We may get to that clip in the next day or so. But the Jim Jordan one to me really stood out just because Bob Mueller had no answer for it. And it exposed the double standard. It exposed the corruption, just how bad the corruption is. And shows just, again, the double standard. The double standard. I mean, innocent till proven guilty was definitely not applied to President Trump first and foremost. But we're going to get into another little fact here, which you'll see in the upcoming clip, showing that there was an exchange between George Papadopoulos and a diplomat. There was a diplomat who lied to the special counsel on 3 different occasions, and they were not prosecuted. Okay, they were not prosecuted for lying to the FBI or the special counsel. Okay, and they're the one who passed that the Russians had dirt on Hillary over to Papadopoulos. Papadopoulos told a diplomat, and then it came back. But this particular person is going to be talked about like 3 different times. And Bob Mueller's just not going to have any sort of an answer to it. And I mean, again, it really shows just how corrupt the swamp is. And when you see this circus, Russia into obstruction, and that's the other. How can you obstruct a crime you didn't do to start with? But I mean, this whole thing. You sit down, and you think about it. $4.6 million. $4.6 million we spent on this investigation. Total waste. Total waste. Total waste. And the Democrats are using this for politics to play up to their base. Okay. I mean, if all this stuff really happened the way it did, why haven't they filed any articles of impeachment and followed through on it? Al Green's filed 3 times. Al Green has filed 3 times. If he really obstructed justice the way the Democrats want us to believe, why wasn't anything done here? And why couldn't Mueller do what every other person does and just try to prove guilt? You don't have to prove innocence. If you can't prove guilt, you're innocent. It's that simple. It's just that simple. So let's take a look at Jim Jordan just expose Bob Mueller, because it is thoroughly entertaining in my opinion. Let's just take a look.
Director of the FBI interviewed Joseph Mifsud on February 10th, 2017. In that interview, Mr. Mifsud lied. You point this out on page 193, volume 1. Mifsud denied. Mifsud also falsely stated. In addition, Mifsud omitted. 3 times he lied to the FBI, yet you didn't charge him with the crime.
Excuse me, did you say one? I'm sorry, did you say 193?
Volume 1, 193. He lied 3 times. You pointed out in the report. Why didn't you charge him with the crime?
I can't get into internal deliberations with regard who would or would not be
charged a lot of other people for making a false statement. Let's remember this. Let's remember this. In 2016, the FBI did something they probably haven't done before. They spied on 2 American citizens associated with a presidential campaign, George Papadopoulos and Carter Page. With Carter Page, they went to the FISA court. They used the now famous dossier as part of the reason they were able to get the warrant and spy on Carter Page for a better part of a year. With Mr. Papadopoulos, they didn't go to the court. They used human sources. All kinds of, from about the moment Papadopoulos joins the Trump campaign, you got all these people all around the world starting to swirl around him. Names like Halper, Downer, even sent a lady posing as somebody else, went by the name Azra Turk, even dispatched her to London to spy on Mr. Papadopoulos. In one of these meetings, Mr. Papadopoulos is talking to a foreign diplomat, and he tells the diplomat, Russians have dirt on Clinton. That diplomat then contacts the FBI, and the FBI opens an investigation based on that fact. You point this out on page 1 of the report. July 31st, 2016, they open the investigation based on that piece of information. Diplomat tells Papadopoulos, Russians have dirt, Papadopoulos tells the diplomat, Russians have dirt on Clinton. Diplomat tells the FBI. What I'm wondering is, who told Papadopoulos? How'd he find out?
I can't get into the evidentiary.
Yes, you can, because you wrote about it. You gave us the answer. Page 192 of the report, you tell us who told him. Joseph Mifsud. Joseph Mifsud's a guy who told Papadopoulos. The mysterious professor who lives in Rome and London, teaches in 2 different universities. This is the guy who told Papadopoulos. He's the guy who starts it all. And when the FBI interviews him, he lies 3 times, and yet you don't charge him with a crime. You charge Rick Gates for false statements. You charge Paul Manafort for false statements. You charge Michael Cohen with false statements. You charge Michael Flynn, a 3-star general, with false statements. But the guy who puts the country through this whole saga, starts it all for 3 years we've lived this now, he lies, and you guys don't charge him. And I'm curious as to why.
Well, we can't get into it, and it's obvious, I think, that we can't get into charging decisions.
When the FBI interviewed him in February, FBI interviews him in February, when the special counsel's office interviewed Mifsud, did he lie to you guys too?
Can't get into that.
Did you interview Mifsud?
Can't get into that.
Is Mifsud Western intelligence or Russian intelligence?
Can't get into that.
A lot of things you can't get into. What's interesting, you can charge 13 Russians no one's ever heard of, no one's ever seen, no one's ever going to hear of them, no one's ever going to see them. You can charge them. You can charge all kinds of people who are around the president with false statements. But the guy who launches the guy who puts this whole story in motion, you can't charge him. I think that's amazing.
I'm not certain I agree with your characterizations.
Well, I'm reading from your report. Mifsud told Papadopoulos. Papadopoulos tells the diplomat tells the FBI opens the investigation July 31st, 2016, and here we are 3 years later, July of 2019, the country's been put through this, and the central figure who launches it all lies to us, and you guys don't hunt him down and interview him again, and you don't charge him with a crime. Now, here's the good news. Here's the good news. The president was falsely accused of conspiracy. The FBI does a 10-month investigation, and James Comey, when we deposed him a year ago, told us at that point they had nothing. You do a 22-month investigation. At the end of that 22 months, you find no conspiracy. And what's the Democrats want to do? They want to keep investigating. They want to keep going. Maybe a better course of action is to figure out how the false accusation started. Maybe it's to go back and actually figure out why Joseph Mifsud was lying to the FBI. And here's the good news. Here's the good news. That's exactly what Bill Barr's doing. And thank goodness for that. That's exactly what the Attorney General and John Durham are doing. They're going to find out why we went through this three-year saga and get to the bottom of it.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
Bob, that had to hurt. that had to hurt, Bob. And I want to make a correction. I think I may have misspoke a little bit earlier when I called Joseph Mifsud a diplomat. He wasn't the diplomat. He was a Maltese professor, because he's a Maltese nationalist, or of Maltese descent, I should say. But he's the one who passed the information that the Russians had dirt on Hillary to George Papadopoulos. Papadopoulos says it to a diplomat. The diplomat then informs the FBI. So here's where this whole thing gets started. So he's the man who is at the origin, from what I'm gathering, of this entire thing. He lies to the FBI on 3 occasions. 3 occasions. Not one indictment. Not a one. And that whipping from that clip earlier from the WWE where Austin was whipping Vince McMahon, Jordan just lays into him with that one. Honestly, I've heard more brutal exchanges that would probably fit that original clip better. But I had to put in just because he took a whip to him in the sense it exposes just what kind of double standards you've got in this whole thing. And like I said earlier, I really have to question just how much of this investigation Bob Mueller was even a part of. The man seems to have no clue on what he put in his report, and by his own words, each word in the report was chosen very carefully. So it was chosen so carefully that people ask you questions about it and you just conveniently can't remember crap. Oh, that's wonderful. And then when they do nail you with a discrepancy, you have to try to thumb through the report to read it real quick so that you can remember your lie or remember your story. That way you can explain, oh, well, but in this scenario, with this context, well, typical politician talking in circles. Even though Bob Mueller's never ran for political office, he sounds just like a politician, talking in circles, trying to talk his way out of a situation. And this is what this investigation and this bumbling idiot who conducted it is what our tax dollars spent $4.6 million on. $4.6 million. And going back to previous videos, we can't provide clean drinking water in Flint, Michigan. We can't fix our roads. We can't fix our bridges. We can't fix our airports. I live in South Carolina. We can't even get 85 finished. We can't get all the potholes in this state plugged up. Okay? But and to be fair, a lot of these projects will cost more than $4.6 million. But hey, as people have always said, every dollar counts. Okay? But we spent $4.6 million on this freaking circus over the last 2 years. And then this man comes before Congress, and then it just kills me. Honestly, I don't agree with the fact that we get these, agency people in there from the FBI and the CIA, all these intelligence people, and then the special counsels and they special counsel equities and this and that. That it allows them to not say things that they don't want to say, either because it was a public forum and it was televised, and if it wasn't televised where we couldn't see it, they could go into things further. I've heard from other people it's come. That's such bull. That's such bull. That they've got rules like that we can't hear what's going on behind closed doors. That kind of secrecy is absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. And when he tries to drill down into the fact, why didn't you prosecute this man who lied to you on 3 different occasions, but you prosecute everybody else? Clearly showing the bias. Clearly showing that there was definitely a thumb on the scale in this whole thing. And Bob Mueller can just get the pass, even with almost a smug look on his face at the same time, to sit there and say, oh, well, I just can't get into that DOJ deliberations and blah, 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 and I'm just not going to elaborate on it. That's such bull. It's such bull. But nonetheless, Jim Jordan took a bullwhip to him. He took a bullwhip to him and just exposed all of this corruption. It was rather entertaining. Alright, more videos will probably be coming in the following days on the Mueller report. The most recent one that I just saw not too long ago was Devin Nunes. So more videos will be coming shortly. Y'all have a good day. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Independent Report. If you liked the video, please hit that like button and please subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe, ring that bell so you'll receive notifications when we drop new videos. I'm trying to grow this channel and inform more people of what's going on in the world around them. Thank you for your support, and we hope you tune in next time.